when my kids will thinking, seems like me thinking about money in the future, they will thinking about crypto. That's crypto in my mind.
Amazing.
Hello, my name is Cyril. I think that Web3 is the new memory of OSPC. We have used, clay tablets and paper and Web2, but all those things can fade away, including the web. And I think that Web3, by being decentralized, is a guarantee or gives a lot more guarantee that we're going to keep our memory as a species.
Amazing. I like that answer.
Hi everyone, my name is Sam from Italy, and I'm here to learn about crypto and be part of the change. Thank you.
Amazing. All right, let's hit record and let me know once we're live. Please and thank you. We are alive. Hey guys, we're alive. Congratulations. First of all, congratulations on waking up this morning. The single greatest victory we can have is to open our eyes and know that we made it through, that we woke up to the day. We went to go speak to our Manku advisors, and we asked them, like, what is success? And he said, waking up. I'm like, that's it? And he's like, that's it. The rest of it's all whatever you make it. So congratulations on being super, super successful, waking up healthy, waking up happy, waking up with love in your life. Today, we're going to talk about how this new space, let's call it the digital asset space, is creating good for the world. Because for too long, me included, there's been a nihilistic view on what's happening in the world. Oh, the old world is dying and collapse and bad things are going to happen. Not saying they're not going to happen, but let's focus on the good, because what we focus on grows, So just thinking about this whole space, what's actually happening is the way humans work is transitioning. The way humans communicate is transitioning. The same way that humans at one point, a long time ago, were just running around in the forest apparently. And then somebody got control of fire, right? Now you could use that fire to burn everybody. And I'm sure there was a lot of times that was done. But that same fire was also used to cook delicious food for children and give them more nutrition. Then somebody invented a hammer. And I'm sure somebody took the hammer and put a hole in somebody else's head. Has happened many times. But most of the time, the hammer was used to build homes for children so children could have roofs over their heads. Then oil was invented. Yeah, it destroyed countries, but it also built the paradise around us. Then the internet was invented. And everybody was like, this is the mode of freedom. This thing that's called the net and the web. Apparently nets and webs were here to give us freedom. We didn't think that one through thoroughly, but it did give us freedom. We're sitting here in Bali. Like, what brought us here? The internet, right? The thing that gives us the freedom to do what we need to do is the internet. The net and the web did give us freedom. So it's like, who is it that's using it? How are they looking at it? What energy are they putting in? And how are they actually using the tool that determines the change that happens in the world? So now we have a tool called blockchain. That one's going to give us freedom for sure. Blockchain. But it is. For some people it is. For some people it's going to be a prison. You decide. Are you complacent? Are you just complacent? Like, I wish the world would change? Okay, great. You wish the world would change. Everybody wishes for a lot of things. What did you do about it today, yesterday? Did you take some action? Did you do something to make the world change? There's people making the world change. I've been offline for the last however many weeks. I've been busy building stuff because I'm like, I'm done talking. I'm done talking. I mean, I'm not done talking. I never shut up. Like, I'll just always talk for the rest of my life. Literally, one of the girls, she was like, Sim never shuts the fuck up. He's immutable. It's like, that's genius. That's a new way to use the word. I am immutable. But I'm done talking in the sense that I've been screaming from the rooftops for 10 years. Hey, this thing's going to change the world. Hey, your entire world is about to get taken over by a new form of technology. It's here. Read the code. If you could understand what the Bitcoin white paper says, and you understand how technology works, you would understand that this thing's here to dominate the entire landscape of the human existence. And now this last 2 years has been this time of like just letting people know, hey, the bell is about to ring. You're in the end game. We're building the new world already. This thing that you guys all keep talking about in Ubud, we are already building it. And here's how you protect yourself from all the bullshit. And here's how you prosper in these times. And now that whole conversation is coming to an end. Because I've recorded all the stuff, I've taught about everything, I've given you all the resources, I've literally taken paid content, which I'm going to show you today now. I literally took my paid group and I've made it free and I'm giving it to people now. So there's not much more I can do to educate people, especially because now when the opportunity is at its highest, nobody listens. I don't care. I don't do it for people to listen. I do it because it's my duty and service to do this, and it's a selfish act that I do it for. Welcome, welcome. Now, let's talk about what literal things we're doing to change the world to a better world. And I'm going to give you examples today. So just like fire, just like oil, just like internet, now there's a new technology that's been created. The very basis of it is called blockchain, right? It's simply a new way to hook up computers. That's it. Last time, in the internet, companies hooked up computers, right? They set up computers, they programmed them to do stuff. Google programmed computers to give you knowledge. Airbnb programmed computers to allow you access to real estate. Facebook programmed computers to allow you to communicate, so on and so forth. Gojek programmed computers to allow drivers to connect with restaurants and people who need drivers. Since they set up the computers, they own the computers, they paid for the computers, they paid for everything, they deserve to have all the money in the world. Like, they're the ones adding value. They're the ones feeding hundreds of millions of children. So they get all the money, you know? And we've, for too long, we've had this view of like billionaires. Oh, Jeff Bezos, why does he have so? Because he feeds hundreds of millions of kids. How many kids do you feed? Feed 100 million and we'll give you $1 billion, no problem. Feed 0 and you'll get 0 money, right? That's how the world should work, value. Now we figured out a new way to hook up these same computers. Instead of companies running them in one spot, we run them all across the world. People can run them, companies can run them, but nobody owns all the computers. Nobody controls all the computers, right? And with blockchain, these computers are just running an accounting book, a very simple accounting book that just keeps account of how many coins each person has. And because these people are running these computers, they need to be paid for, the cost that it costs to run these computers. So we pay them in these coins. That's what crypto is, right? In its most fundamental sense, all that technology does is it allows fairness to happen. Because now anybody can run the computer, anybody can get the coins, anybody can use those computers to do whatever they need, right? And the layer 1 computers, other than blockchain, other than Bitcoin, are programmable with apps. So you can build apps, you can run the computers, you can take the risk of owning the right coins, because right now the world hasn't realized what's actually going on. And for doing any of those things, you get value back because the world owes it to you because you're helping the world develop this new future technology. That's the idea of blockchain. Or yeah, that's the basic idea of blockchain. What it actually allows you to do, it allows everybody in the world to access this system fairly. Because in the old world, you couldn't own Facebook. Most people in this room couldn't own Facebook. There's about maybe 5 people in this room who could own Facebook, because you have to sign up for a stock exchange, and you have to be in the right countries, and you have to have enough money, and you have to register with a broker, and then you have to verify, and then you have to send them money, and you have to have a financial planner to actually buy it for you. Or you could try to go in and buy yourself. Let me give you a better example. Private companies, not even public companies, private companies. You can't buy private companies without being an accredited investor. And an accredited investor is somebody who has $1 million of assets, right? Whereas in this new world, we don't ask about any of that. Somebody, Katut, Made, somebody from the middle of Africa, can just activate their phone as long as they have some technology. So it still requires some level of wealth for this process to happen. But as long as they have a phone, they can go in and they can access these systems. Not only can they access these systems, they can learn how to build these systems. And I'm going to show you how we're helping the Indonesians learn how to build this future. So within the next 3 years, they will be better than anybody in this room at building this stuff. And this is how we're taking the wealth and giving it to them. Is that funny? No, not you, her. All right. I mean, it is funny to me. I'm going to make the Indonesians better than the Westerners in the snap of a finger with partnership with the governments. And the Westerners are going to be like, how did Indonesia become one of the wealthiest countries in the world? We're going to go, because we taught them how to build your world. And they took your world from you. Welcome to the club, okay? But we're going to talk about that later. The other thing it does is it makes everything immutable. It makes it so that once something in that accounting book, because all these computers are all running the same accounting book, right? So nobody can change the accounting book. Not a government, not anybody. Hackers, it can be hacked. Unless you have the computing power of half of the network, which is always growing, which costs you more money than you make by hacking the network, which monetarily doesn't make sense for you to do it. It can't be hacked. And without that computing power, you can't access the system to be able to change those accounting books. So effectively speaking, you can't change the accounting books. They're immutable. That's what immutable means. What that also allows you to do is then it allows us to trust the system, right? It allows us to trust that, hey, somebody's not going to go mess the books up. With the banks, that's not true. We put our money in the banks, they write it down in the books, and they go, okay, you have this much money, you worked hard to create this much money, and then one day they just go, hey, print a bunch of money. And they just go into the books and write in a bunch of money while the rest of us work for money. So we can't trust the money, right? That's what's happening right now. People are losing faith in money. Whereas this system of money, you can't mess with it like that. The good ones, 90% of them are actually terrible systems that are going to lose all your money. The good ones, you can't mess with them. What it also allows us to do is it allows us to own this next stage of the internet, right? In the previous stage of the internet, you couldn't own HTTP. You can own websites, which is like owning apps. But in this case, we can own pieces of the actual internet itself, actual computer systems itself. We can run the computers. We can own the computers. Then even if you don't own the computers, you own a coin that allows you to pay for transaction fees on the computer, which means you own the processing power of the computer, which means you own the processing power of the internet. That's what we're holding in our wallets, capacity for computers to do work in this new internet. And we can own pieces of it. The final thing there's so many things it does, but the final good thing it does is it creates fairness. Now, I can take students from the universities in Indonesia and I can give them knowledge for free, and I can make them as competitive as the best in the West. And the Westerners, we're entitled. Oh, you want to code? $60,000, please. I'm not even getting out of bed for less than $60,000. $60,000, I'll get 10 coders from here who live a great lifestyle, who are way hungrier to work, who are actually more driven, and who have better knowledge because we've given it to them. And 10 of them will always outdo one Westerner, for sure. So the fairness that this allows, we've leveled the playing field, like you're talking about. Not just for us, for the little guys, the ones who never had the chance to generate wealth. That's what the system's allowing us to do. And we're doing it live. I'm gonna give you examples of how we're doing it live. The other technology that's coming along is Web3, like Cyril mentioned. And Web3 is it's such a techie term. And we techies, we love it. We love coming up with new terms that are like our terms. DeFi, ReFi, Web3, blockchain, and then people are like, can you speak English, please? You're like, I am speaking English. You just don't understand. And you know what the problem is? This guy right here, can single-handedly change the world. If there's one person in this room who could single-handedly, like without even trying, change the world, it's him, because he knows how to code. The gods of today are the coders. The gods of today. The one, like, did you ever think about the magic that this thing is? Like, if you could just understand the complexity of how this thing works, it took me 11 years to learn how every single thing inside of this works. Like, somebody from the other side of the planet can send a signal. It gets relayed through many different channels. It goes to a tower kilometers away. It gets beamed to my phone and it hits an antenna and it vibrates in a way that the antenna can translate that information into knowledge. And that knowledge is then broken down to code that is literally voltage being turned on and off. And that gets fed into a processor inside. And the processor has gates that it uses to create logic. And the logic gets turned into knowledge and gets sent out to different pieces. At the end, all of this knowledge gets retranslated into on and off switches that allow the screen to electrically charge liquid crystals that then project certain colors in certain patterns to show you a text message that just came from the other side of the planet. And I didn't even explain most of it. That's what happens. That's utter magic. Utter magic. And yet people walk around like, yeah, no problem. Like, I know how to use this thing. It's like, no, you don't. It knows how to use you. It knows how to use you because you don't understand it. The people who understand this are building your entire world. You know, and like government said, hotels are rented this way, regulated across the world. Some coder said, no. Popped out an app called Airbnb, revolutionized real estate across the world before the world even had time to blink. And the governments across the world woke up and went, what's going on? Why are our real estate prices shooting up? Why is this changing the dynamics of society? They went, oh, that's an app. It's an app. We used to not want to put our children in strangers' cars. Like if I told you to put your child in a stranger's car, first of all, you'd probably punch me in my face. And you'd be like, you're one of those like weirdos who wants to like kidnap kids. And then some coder somewhere went, here's an app called Uber. And the first thing parents did is they just went, oh, convenience. Yeah, we're only gonna put you in strangers' cars to send you away now. Completely flipped parenting on its head with one single app. And we didn't even blink. We didn't even blink. Like nobody even thought any of this stuff. They just went, convenience. I can send my child without me having to drive my child. My teenager is gonna drink and drive. I don't want them to drink and drive, so I'll put them in the car and send them away. This is the power that this technology has had 1,000 million times over just in Web 2. This new technology that's coming, the gods that are coders are coding it in ways that are going to that are already revolutionizing our lives, but wait until they take over everything, okay? Web 3 is simply the idea that in the old internet, companies owned all the stuff and companies made all the money. In Web 3, we own the stuff. We own the coins, we own the NFTs, we own the computers, we build the code, if you so choose, and so we make the money. That's the basic difference. It's not too much more complicated than that. But what that does is finally, the value that we add on the internet is ours. We can own it, right? Like, go ahead. Can we please?
You say that we own, and I would prefer to say we have the chance to maybe own it because the neutrality of the network is not a guarantee. So
That's a fair point.
like, you know, there's a fight ahead of us that, you know, we need to make sure that we keep that. In that case, what you're describing is true.
Yes, but I would like to disagree with that.
Good?
Most people are not capable of making decisions for the world. So most people should not own things. The people who add value to the world should own things. The people who extract value from the world should not be allowed to own things because they're extractive. They want to sit back and eat. And that's what causes the problems in the world. The people who actually add value to the world, who actually feed kids. Simple as that. Value is feeding kids in its most distilled form. So yes, many people will not have the chance to own it. But it's simply because they don't add enough value to the world. And that's not a knock on, there's many things that people do where they add so much value, the world just does not pay them back in the right amount. Well, some of the things you can't, like healers, you can't pay healers enough. They're changing people's lives. If we started paying healers what it actually is worth, we would need to give them all our money, and that's not enough. You know what I mean? So yes, there's unfairness to it, but in this new world, add value. If you add value, you will own it. If you don't add value, you will not own it. Simple as that, right? But yes, we may be given the privilege of owning certain things as long as we facilitate the fairness of that ownership. That's a very good point to make. And that's why we're working very hard on building those systems with our own hands every single day to make sure that fairness exists. The good thing is, we're the gods. We're the gods. Everybody's a god. Ants are gods and plants are gods and rocks are gods. But finally, in this world, the young, technologically advanced people have become the ones that the entire world looks at and asks, can you please help us in this new world? So finally, we've been given the control to build the world the way that we want. And yes, there will be sides of the world built, which will be blocks and chains, but we're using blocks to build buildings, and we're using chains to create support structures, right? The other thing Web3 allows you to do is less censorship, because no longer do companies control all the data. The people control all the data. The people in combination with governments and countries own all the data. So it does facilitate the ability to create a more open society that potentially in certain spaces will be allowed to operate with less censorship. The flip side of that is, yes, the systems that Facebook is building and others are building, they're going to be more restrictive. They're going to actually block you and chain you. And the sad thing is, most of those non-value adding people will go to Facebook. But that is a self-filtering mechanism of the world. The ones who add value their freedom. The ones who don't add value, they submit to whatever needs to be done. So it's a fair part of how the world works. The most important thing Web3 allows us to do, yes, please. Sorry, can we get you a mic? We like your voice to boom.
Speaking of the metaverse and meta, would that mean that all those people are going to be in that metaverse, and then the people that give value to the world are going to be in a different metaverse?
Yeah, so that's a really good point. Really good question. The term metaverse is kind of a misnomer, the same way cryptocurrency is a misnomer. You should think about it like metaverses, an infinity of universes, and we will select the universes which we choose to participate in. The people who don't add value will be forced into those metaverses, the controlled ones, where in order for them to get money put into their digital CBDC wallets, they will have to operate within specific metaverses which are created to extract value from them. Because again, if you're not adding value, somebody's going to take your value from you. The whole point of protecting our wealth and actually getting autonomy in this process is to have the option to go to whichever metaverse you want. Not just whichever metaverse you want. Go wherever you want, whenever you want. Freedom, right? So yes, a vast majority of the earth will be forced into that metaverse because they're not doing anything about it. A very small percentage of the earth will be given complete freedom to go into any metaverses, and we're building our own metaverses. We're building our own societies in the physical and digital, which will be the places that us will want to visit.
Would you maybe, even just to put that in kind of layman's terms, label that as the new version of Darwinism, perhaps?
Sure.
Yeah, just to put it, make me understand.
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You're going to get into it what you get out of it. You're going to get out of it what you put into it.
Yeah.
In other words, the age-old lesson.
Yeah, it's like if you put in the work, if you plant the trees, if you plant the seeds, you get to eat fruit. And if you want somebody else's fruit, they're going to make you eat the fruit that they poison.
It's the new version of the age-old basics. Yeah.
Exactly, right? That's a good way to put it. My favorite thing that Web3 allows us to do is create new value models. New value models. No longer should people have to just work doing something that they hate to do in order to make money, in order for them to live the life that they want. We have ways now to allow people to do what they love, and only what they love, and add value with what they love to do, with passion, and then pay them for that. So I'll give you an example. People love to play games. Like kids, people love to play games. So the play to earn model, even though yes, it was ran as a Ponzi and it's not perfected yet, but the play to earn model figured out a way, and investors love to make money. And money loves to make more of itself. The play to earn model was one of the first manifestations of where people who have no opportunity, no jobs in the middle of COVID, were able to play games with assets, NFTs that investors bought, and it would make the investors money and it would make them money. That model is not working well, but there's ways to retool that model. So what we're doing is we're creating a model called Act to Earn. So if you act in a way that helps the earth, then we will pay you cash. And we figured it out. It's going to go live within the next 1.5 to 2 years. And children will play games, which they love to play anyway. I'm not going to stop them from playing games because games have been part of play for history. Children will play games, but they will learn how to clean up waste and not produce waste. They'll be educated in that process. And above a certain legal age, they will actually earn money for learning how to get rid of waste. In parallel to that, the plastic collectors, who are some of the poorest people in Bali and across the world, we figured out a way to pay them more to collect that plastic. We take that plastic, track it on the blockchain, and then send it up the supply chain. The end producer gets to know that this is Bali saving plastic from this specific beach. They get to market their product as Bali saving chairs rather than just chairs. And some of that extra value from the margins that they can generate gets fed back down the supply chain, back down to the people collecting the plastic. So more money goes in the pocket of the people who are collecting plastic, right? This is all because of Web3, but it's also because of a new way of thinking about how value moves. And we can track it and make it very transparent and official. And these are just two of the models that we have, right? But that's all because we have a new structure where there's transparency through blockchain, there's ownership of the process, and you can verifiably know who did the work, who added the actual value into the system, and you can make sure they're compensated for the process to happen. And I know some of this stuff is going to sound like your brain is not going to allow you to absorb it, because we come from an old world where these kind of models don't make sense, but these new models that are being built live today. And by the time they go live and they're actually brought out and implemented into the world, it'll take you 2, 3, 4 years to get used to that whole process. And in those 2, 3, 4 years, they'll rebuild your entire universe and force you into corners which you may not to go inside. The creation of this technology is a natural function of human existence. So if you haven't seen the historical cycles talk, please go back and watch both historical cycles talk. By the way, this meeting is going to be one of the last ones that we hold here. We're actually moving all of this to Denpasar because we partner with the city of Denpasar to turn Denpasar into a digital city, and we're going to start teaching Indonesian talent all of this stuff, because I feel like the rounds of doing this have come to an end, and we need to transition to the next phase where we start adding value to local populations' lives rather than just the wealthy bule's lives. But the introduction of this technology is a natural function of the cyclicality of history, and it's a natural function of human existence. It's not a coincidence that 250 years ago, a technology came along called steam, And that revolutionized the way the world works. 250 years before that, printing presses came along. 250 years before that, another technology came along. Same thing, 250 years ago, the world transitioned from a decentralized state, farmers in a feudal system, and started moving towards a centralized state, which is now cities, centrally controlled cities. And the pendulum of that swings back and forth. It's not a coincidence that the financial cycles are lining up and we're revolutionizing finance. The innovation cycles are lining up and we're revolutionizing innovation. There's the socioeconomic cycles are lining up, so we're reimagining society. The generational cycles are lining up, so the generational paradigms are shifting. So now the young tell the old what to do rather than the old telling the young what to do. This is not happening by coincidence. If you look back in history, as far as we can see it, back down to about 3,000 years, depending on if you look at Chinese history or not, it's just rinsed and repeated with different technology again and again. So anybody who's here to stop this, good luck. Hasn't happened for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, but if you feel like stopping it, let me know what your plan is, because it's not going to happen. And that's why people are like, how are you so sure it's going to happen? I was like, just read a few history books. If you don't want to read them, listen to Ray Dalio. Listen to my talk on top of Ray Dalio. The guy spent millions and millions of dollars collating this knowledge down to a 45-minute video, and people still don't want to learn it. You know, there's people screaming from the rooftops teaching you the dynamics of how this is playing out. But once you understand that, once you understand the cyclicality of history, and that this is a natural function of human existence and history, for me at least, I became hopeful. I became hopeful because I was like, okay, wait, so if this has happened before, what happened when the steam engine came? Initially, it started to move people around, it started to move goods around, it increased throughput, more people started to get fed, and for the last 250 years, poverty has gone like this. We've reduced poverty by 80% in the entire world, which means more children are actually being fed. And more roofs have been built over people's heads. And now we have 8 billion people. Prosperity went like this, in pretty much a straight line. Now it's taken a bit of a dip, but prosperity went pretty much straight. What did the internet do? It gave wisdom. Now it's creating a generation of children that when I speak to them, I'm like, so you know what's going on, right? And this person's 8. I can speak to an 8-year-old and they're smarter than most of this room, including me for sure. I spoke to a 13-year-old and it restored my faith in the future because I was like, finally, these guys are smart. And I was like, so this 13-year-old comes, right? He was my ex's son. First day he sits down, within 45 minutes, the conversation went to the dynamics that played out within the Weimar currency collapse. Who here knows what the Weimar currency collapse is? This 13-year-old knows. Not only does he know what Weimar currency collapse means, he understands the finer dynamics of the different asset classes that played out and the reactions of the humans that existed in Germany that led to the Weimar currency collapse, including the previous 100 years. And I asked him, I was like, how did you, I mean, this was a stupid question, but I was like, how did you learn all of this? And he's like, I have the internet. Why doesn't everybody know this? I was like, because they're watching Netflix. Netflix doesn't show this stuff. And that proved to me that that kid should run the world. And if the people watching Netflix should listen to that kid. So then I asked him, I was like, man, you could be an entrepreneur. You could like add so much value to the world. You could get rich. And he said, I don't want to get rich. And I was like, great, what is it that you want to do? He's like, I don't know. Right now, I just want to play games. I'm going to go play whatever the shooting game is with his friends. This is the world that you're transitioning to, that the 13-year-olds and 8-year-olds know so much more than you, to the point where like, he looks at adults and he just goes, and he's such a sweetheart. He would never say this to you in front of your face. He's extremely respectful of every single person. He's extremely caring. But he looks at us, we were arguing, and he just looked at us and went, you guys are being children, figure your shit out, and just gets up off the table and walks upstairs. The reason why I'm telling you this is because those kids are going to build the world that we're living in. Those kids are the wise ones. I'm a kid compared to many wiser people than me, and I'm telling you this, I'm building your world live today. Get with it, otherwise we're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna Airbnb, Uber this thing with our own value models. Luckily, we have the heart to build value models that actually feed kids, because the only thing we care about is feeding kids, because those kids are the ones who are gonna change the world to the way that we want. All of this is facilitated by these new value models. It's facilitated by blockchain, it's facilitated by Web3, it's facilitated by all these things actually happening. Another concept that the world will wake up to within the next, they'll kind of wake up to it within the next 2 years. The next bull run will be hyped by this process. Just a side note, crypto goes through hype cycles, right? So the very first hype cycle was Bitcoin, 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 Bitcoin. Bitcoin's come out, Bitcoin's gonna change the world, Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. Pump, I don't think this thing is worth that much, crash. The next cycle was ICOs, initial coin offerings. Oh, we figured out how to create programmable apps on top of this system. Oh my God, everything's so amazing. Look at how much it pumped in 2017. Oh my God, everything's gonna be great. Actually, I think all this stuff is shit. Boom, crash. 2020 was DeFi. Oh, we brought finance to the blockchain. Oh my God, finance to the blockchain, imagine how much money finance makes. Guess what, I can stake and I can make 80,000% yields. 80,000%, oh my God, that must not be a scam. Let's put all our money inside. And pump, I think that was a scam, crash. And then right at the tail end of it, they're like metaverse. And there was a final little bump for metaverse and crash. The metaverse hype cycle still hasn't even fully come through. The closest hype cycle is gonna be metaverse. Meta announcing Facebook is nice, or Meta announcing whatever Meta is nice. Apple's gonna release the metaverse headset at the end of 2023. Wait until you see the speculative pump that creates. But the real one that I'm excited about, that I'm already building for, because all these other things, they're not at the stage of even being valuable yet. Prove to me what's the value. How many kids are you feeding today? Then I'll tell you what the value of the thing that you're doing is. The real value model I'm interested in is called tokenization. Tokenization, at least in my implementation of it, is taking real world value and transitioning it into the digital. Because what's happening right now is we are moving to a digital space. We're completely moving to experiencing in the digital space. Zoom and YouTube and all this stuff we're doing right now is just the first flat screen manifestation of that. But we are moving to the entire world's value being transitioned to the digital space. What we're doing is we're literally taking the physical value that sits in the world and we're transitioning it to the digital space. So let me give you some examples, because you're like, what? I don't understand. How are you taking real world value and transitioning it to the digital space? We're taking real estate. Real estate is owned inside of a title, usually inside of a company. We're taking that title and turning it into tokens. And so what you do is you take the title of the land and you break it up into, let's say, 1 million tokens. It's $1 million land, and you break it up into 1 million tokens, the same way you would do with like stocks or shares, right? It's a very standard model. Normally with stocks and shares, you would give away the ownership of the land, which you can do in tokenization as well. But these tokens are digital all 1 million tokens. One token represents $1 worth of value of that land. And it's tied together through the government, it's officially registered, it's filed with the SEC, all that kind of stuff. Now, anybody in the world can buy 1 millionth of a piece of land from their phone. And then they can sell it in a moment, which wasn't available before. Somebody wants to buy land in Bali, good luck. First thing you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to hire a lawyer. And the lawyer's gonna have to go talk to the landowner. And the landowner is gonna give them a piece of paper. And then you gotta take the piece of paper to a notary. And the notary's gonna vet it. The notary's gonna ask the government. The government's gonna check it. They're gonna tell the notary. The notary's gonna charge you a fee. They're gonna tell the lawyer. The lawyer's gonna keep bleeding you the whole time. And then, say, a few months down the road, you even figure out who owns this land through this process. And then you go, I want to buy it. Okay, it's $1 million. Call your bank. I want to buy this land. Where is it? It's Indonesia. Indonesia? You want to send $1 million to Indonesia? Yeah, it's my money. Send $1 million to Indonesia. They're like, it's not that easy to send $1 million to Indonesia. Which bank are you going to send it to? Like, the guy's bank. Well, where's the paperwork? Okay, well, are you going to send the million? We'll talk to a manager. A manager will call you. And I'm like, man, I just want to buy this piece of land. It took me 4 months to verify the ownership of this land, and I don't even know if it's really owned because, Indonesia. And it's going to take you 6 months to a year just to do your due diligence to get to the point of buying the piece of land. With tokenization, here's how you buy it. That's it. How many? No, it's actually how many tokens, how much of the land do you want to buy? Buy from the other side of the world. And the transaction will, depending on which blockchain you use, transactions will process in a second, in a minute, 10 minutes. Might take you 30 minutes. I'm sorry, it took you 30 minutes to buy this piece of land. But what it allows you to do is allows you to buy 1/1,000,000th of a piece. It allows Gatot to take 5,600 rupiah and buy a piece. So we're doing this with land. We're already doing this with mining, copper, gold, iron, and nickel mining, which is mining in a way that doesn't destroy the earth, and it's feeding kids, and we're replanting trees, and then we're taking those replanted trees and turning them into carbon credits, because carbon credits can be sold for cash, and then we can give that money back to the company, give that back to the people on the ground. Our friend is doing this with NFTs through a project called 5Harvest-O. He's using NFTs to effectively tokenize farm productivity. So the farmer right now needs money because he spent all this money into his product production. Nobody wants to give him money. The banks want to give him money at like 9% interest. He's not going to give away his margins. That's what keeps people poor, debt. So what he does, what we're doing together, is we're taking the farm productivity and we're turning it into an NFT. And it's in a metaverse where you can play and kids can get more familiar with farming, which is another side benefit because we don't have enough farmers in the world and their kids don't want to be farmers because it's not cool anymore and it doesn't make you enough money. That NFT gets sold to an investor. When the investor buys the NFT, all of that money goes to the farmer. No debt, no commissions, nothing. The farmer gets cash today, so the farmer can live his life. Then the farmer promises 70% of the productivity of this next cycle to the person who bought the NFT through a smart contract process. 30% will go to the farmer. We do them one better. We have another project called FarmSent, where we take those commodities and we ship them to Dubai, Saudi, Bahrain, and soon to be many other countries. We can sell those commodities for 20 times the price because 20 times the Indonesian price of those commodities in those countries is wholesale pricing because it actually sells for 30 to 40 times. Then we pay everybody along the chain, government, middlemen, commodity suppliers, everybody, and then 5 times the money ends up in the farmer's pocket. So now instead of 30%, the farmer makes 150% what he would have normally made from his productivity. And the investor, instead of 70%, makes 350% what they would have normally made. The country in the middle of a desert gets food, which they're like, please just get us food, or we don't want our people to go hungry, and everybody's happy. And then here's another kicker. We take the waste, literally the discard, the biomass that comes out of it, and we turn it into carbon credits, which is going to be a whole thing that I'll explain in a later talk. We turn it into carbon credits. So there's no waste. It actually generates fertilizer. It generates natural pesticides. So no pesticide use is necessary, no fertilizer is necessary. There's no organic waste. They get 5 times the money. Investors get 5 times the money, and a country gets fed on the other side. This is the level that things are at today with this technology. And people think we're just at XYZ, dog ear, banana coins, and shit coins. No, this world is moving at light speed ahead. And by the time you guys hear about this is the first time I've publicly told people about this whole process because we still haven't come out of stealth mode for many of these things. But this is how we're actually using these technologies to change the world and feed kids and make people rich, but only the people who are actually contributing to this process in some capacity. So in that concept, tokenization is allowing access to capital. Because right now the world is flush with cash. Flush. Like there's literally too much cash in the world. It's spilling over the rich people's buckets. And they don't know what to do with it. So we figure out these value models where we say, give your cash to the farmer and we'll give you 350% returns. And they're just like, that's a scam. We're like, no, look at the value model. Fine, try with 1,000 and we'll get you the money. And we're working with the government to make sure this is verified, certified, officialized. Everything is done in a way that's regulatorily compliant, so there's security. But when you tell some rich person, give your money to a farmer who really needs it, and the farmer will make 150%, and you'll make 350% in one cycle. And some of these crops have 2 cycles a year. Their mind just gets blown. So this is the way to think about how to take that overabundance of money and value that's sitting in the world and figure out models to feed kids on the ground. And this is just the 2 that I'm explaining to you. We have too many of these. I mean, I've explained 3 now. There's Eco Hero Game that feeds plastic collectors and teaches kids how to collect waste and makes more money for everybody. There's these 2 models we just spoke about. There's mining. The other thing tokenization allows you to do is it allows you to raise capital without giving away equity. Because when you own a project, when you own a company, normally what you would do is you would just sell shares of your company, pieces of your company. Now, that's a limited time offer because when it gets to the point where somebody takes too much of your company, you don't want to work in your company. You're not incentivized anymore and the company doesn't run. With these models, what we can do is we say, with the tokenization process, you don't own, like with the mines, you don't own the mines because the mines belong to a country. How dare you try to go into a country and say, we're gonna take the wealth of nations from you? Sorry, that's colonialism. That's not the game we're playing here. That's the old game. With the mines, what we say is, this is a registered security with the SEC. Okay, this is a registered security. This is not just little time games because you're talking about the wealth of nations. You don't own the mines. You do not get governance at all, because miners should know how to run mines, not random people who've never seen a mine before. What you do get is you get the rights to the dividends that come out of the mines. So when you buy a token and you stake the token, what we're saying is the money that comes from mining, a percentage of that money will go to you. So what you're doing is you're raising capital without giving away the farm. So the founders and the company owners are incentivized to work really hard to make this work because now it's just their skin in the game. It's their skin and they have a fiduciary responsibility to the investors in the tokens themselves because they're regulated. But you do not get to own the mine. So you will own nothing. And you know why you'll be happy? Because you get returns. That's a new way of looking at you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. It doesn't mean you'll own nothing. I mean, if you don't add value to the world, good, you will own nothing. You shouldn't own anything. But if you add value to the world, what you will own is the right to dividends, the right to the value that you're adding to the world to be given back to you for the rest of your life, right? What it also allows you to do, yeah, always.
Don't quite understand is the concept of DAOs, but it sounds contradicted to what you are saying, right? Because in the DAOs, everyone will have a say on the project.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't like DAOs. I don't like DAOs. People who want to create DAOs have I'm going to be careful about what I say here, have a not fully developed understanding of the dynamics of society. Let's say that. They're trying to create a world that isn't fit for the world the way that it exists today. DAOs will make sense 10 years down the road, right? But DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. It's one where the company, let's say, is owned by the token holders and all the decisions are made by the token holders. It's fully decentralized. And I mean, I would love if the idea works, but what I've learned throughout history is the average person does not know how to make good decisions. The average person does not understand. The average person does not, like we, make stupid decisions in our own lives, right? We're constantly messing up our own lives. And they're like, I don't know why, but this, like, I keep doing this stuff that I really want to stop. I keep getting fat when I want to be thin. I keep getting sad when I want to be happy. I keep getting poor when I want to be rich, right? We keep making bad decisions in our own lives. Now you're telling me we're going to bring all of us together and we're going to make decisions on, let's say, mining? That project is going to zero, right? Like, there was a DAO. Somebody made a DAO, and they put, like, I think $2.7 million inside of this DAO. And this lady, her dog died. So everybody decided, like, oh, her dog died. Let's just give her all the money. And they just gave her all the money. What? This is a real example. People make decisions like that. You can coerce people to make whatever decisions you want. I mean, look at the world around us. People have been coerced into making very stupid decisions because of certain knowledge and certain dynamics. I don't have to explain that to you, right? So yes, the idea of DAOs exists. The world is not ready for DAOs.
I think that the key word is stupidity. And when it comes to...
I'm very familiar with that. I live it every single day. Yeah.
And I think that the decision process, that basically decision processes in any aspect of society, including dealing with business or, countries or whatever. Right now we have voting. I don't know, in my country, every 5 years I vote for a new president. And I have like 3 votes. That's it. And I think that DAOs is one thing that Web3 and blockchain in general is bringing, is making everything faster, smoother, with less friction. That is one of the functions that you get from that technology. And DAO is basically decision process that are going to be made faster, smoother, is going to be easier to interact. Now, the proof of concept that came, the early one, the first DAO, were like, oh yeah, sure, let's make sure that everybody can make any kind of decision. Yeah. So basically what we need is to find a middle ground where the decision process based on DAO technology, basically blockchain, is going to be stupidity proof.
Yes,
and we're going to find that middle ground.
Yeah, and
it's
here's
just a question of time.
Here's a decision-making process. If you're somebody who wants to create a DAO, please learn Ray Dalio's decision-making process in his hedge fund. He runs one of the biggest hedge fund. He runs the biggest hedge fund in the world. He's an extremely intelligent human who actually cares about people. And his decision-making process combined with one that was brought to me by some really smart Aboodians is the best that I've seen yet. And here's what it is. The decision does get made between the community. Everybody votes. But the people who know the most about that specific field, their votes matter slightly more. Let's say there's a decision and the experts, let's call them, vote yes, and a bunch of people vote no. Then there's an education process where the experts educate the people who voted no with the knowledge they have and they don't have. So there's a horizontal transfer of information. Then the vote gets run again. Then you see, okay, now with this new knowledge, what decision does the community make? Because the wisdom of the masses is a true thing. It's a true thing, but you need to make sure the masses have wisdom. Or if they're lacking in wisdom, you give them wisdom, right? The combination of that with our friend Yanu and their societal structuring models is you don't get to just say no. After that process, if you still want to say no, you don't get to just say no. You are allowed to say no as long as you have a better idea. Yeah. If you just say no, just because no, it's like, that doesn't matter. You got a better plan, right? So then whoever says no says a better idea. And then that better idea gets run through this decision matrix. And then the best idea from the masses gets decided on. And then there will still be people who are like, no. And it's like, no, you don't have a button to hit no. It says no, why? no, what's your proof? What's your better idea? And eventually, you know, because there's always idiots in society, the idiots just don't have the option to say no to things because they don't have better ideas. So that's how I would do it.
Another thing that I think that blockchain-based decision process, whether it's DAO or not, is gonna give us the opportunity of a much finer way and detailed way of making decision. Like if I go back to voting, I still need to go to, you know, a voting booth. And
Voting is hilarious.
yeah, but
It's like mom picking up two shirts and going, you want the red one or the blue one? And you think you're making a decision. But you know who mom is? Money,
yeah, but the thing is
right?
right now,
Yeah.
making that kind of decision, whether it's voting or, you know, using your right because you have, you know, you want equities, and then, you know, you can give your opinion on governance
Yep.
of a company. All that is still like at the stone age of making decision. Okay, but now that we can be, you know, through our phone, you know, we can be asked much finer decision, and the way we can analyze the data that comes out of that can help make, like, you know, the decision process, as you say, it can now go back and forth. You know, in France, my country, you know, electing a president, it's we ask you the question twice. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, there's no third round. There's no, are you sure? There's no, let us educate you. There's no. So
But the thing is,
that's gonna change.
in
a
today's
lot.
voting model, you don't want an educated voter. You simply want an emotionally motivated voter. I think you're.
You want to? Yeah,
Yeah.
it works. Yeah, I think there's a fundamental flaw in our society nowadays. Is that people think and try to think that we are equal. And every day, everybody say, "Oh, men and women are equal. Oh, you and I, we're equal. We're all the same. We all have the same skills. We can all do everything. Everything's possible." No, that's a lie. That's a fundamental lie. We all are different. Men and women, we're different. Him and I, we're different. We all have our flaws and we all have our qualities. And that is the point. We are not all able to take the right decisions. Not at all. So if you ask to millions or hundreds of people to make important decisions, society will crash because we're not all able. We don't all have the mental capacities to be able to take important decisions because we're not all equal. And it's sad to say, but there's one person that's a lot better than you. And there's some person that's a lot worse than you. And that's just how it is. And we need to stop lying and stop believing what we see on TV and everywhere, where all the people are seeing like life in fucking pink color and saying, "Oh, teddy bears, love, we're all equal." La, la, la. It's false. It's false. It's a scam.
Here's one of the biggest reasons why men and women are not equal, okay? Women come out with way better sensing capacities. Like men, we literally have like two pinholes that we look through. You ever send a man to the fridge to go get something? And we're just like, where is it? Where's the ketchup? And then you just walk up and you go, here's the ketchup. It was right in front of you the whole time. It's because we're executionists. You know, not like execution, we just execute, right? We're here to do one task very, very, very well. Other than that, we don't like care. Women don't look here. They look here. They're sensing what the room is doing and the energy of the room and who likes what and who's saying what and who's not saying what, who likes who. You come out with way better sensing capacities. And the feminine literally creates the entire universe. Literally, physically pulls the entire universe out of the ether and pops it out in front of you. We're not equal at all. Like, we're retarded compared to you guys. The only thing we do is we're just really good at doing one thing really, really, really well and just focus on it for the rest of our lives until it gets done. That's a capacity you guys don't have. We can lift things better. We can definitely lift things better. We're stronger in physical form. we have direction capacity that's better, right? So we all have our skill sets. What's happened in the world, which I really agree with, is the world has twisted that around. And it's taken the feminine out of the feminine, and it's taken the masculine out of the masculine, and the goal is to make us these like blobs where we're not playing our role, confused. But you get, like, you and your wife together. Man, when I see that, it's like, she's feminine, she carries herself the right way, you know, she's herself. You're a man. And you guys get together, I'm like, look at that. You know, when you see the marriage of those two things together and we synergize that process, the world can't be stopped. But this is exactly why it's being knocked down. Because if we get into our actual powers and we connect together, there's nobody who's going to be able to stop us. So yes, I agree with that. And the decision making, yeah, I don't think most people should be making decisions on things. I think most people should make decisions on what they know to make decisions on. And they should leave other decision making to other people who know better how to make better decisions. Otherwise, this world won't work. Can we get on the mic?
Thanks. Just for reference, I guess the people, when they speak about the equal, they speak about not means you 100% the same with another people, but we should find the scale when we are equal, like equal in front of law, equal in front of technology.
Yeah.
So it's not mean that I'm and the blonde girl like have completely equal mentality. If she like dancing and I like the math, of course we're very different. Or she like the math and I like dancing. So, but I think we should not be scared of the equal word. Even it has a bad history, all the bad movements. Like they say, we want everyone become equal, and then someone become more equal than another. So we all know these histories. But with the blockchain and the metaverse and this work, we could again try to touch this equal word in front of technology and our human rights, and how we can be protected not by other humans but by the tech itself.
Yeah,
by the tools.
You code it in there, so it doesn't care. Bitcoin doesn't care if you're a man or a woman. Bitcoin doesn't care if you're black or white or pink or purple, if you're an alien from the moon or if you're from Earth. It simply exists, and nobody can bastardize that process. And yes, we are building systems where equanimity is built in. It doesn't care if you're a poor person from Indonesia or some rich person from the other side of the planet. Do you add value? That's all it cares about.
Yeah,
right?
the smart contracts work the same with the farmer or the millionaire. And the second, what I want to say is about decisions, because I'm really inspired by the DAO concept, but I know it sucks like for what we have now. But actually, human already developed the decision tools that work much perfectly. That's our Stone Age like white paper in the voting, and it's working neural networks and machine learning.
Now, here's the thing. Bali has ran for thousands of years. Do you know how they run it? Elders.
Like by tribes and
elders make the decisions because they've lived more life than you.
Yeah, but I think we have already more advanced thing, because the adult elders can be stupid elders, can be smart elders.
We don't have anything more advanced than ancient wisdom. I wholeheartedly disagree. For us idiots who've lived 40 seconds of life, how old are you?
33.
Me too.
Yeah.
And we think we're like, we have a better way, guys. And it's like, what do you know about life? What do I know about life? I'm a baby. I just woke up to existence 3 years ago, right? So I wholeheartedly disagree that letting the young create decision-making matrices because we think we have a better way of making those decisions is, we haven't even lived the life to make those decisions. So that's why the society I'm structuring, grandmas, grandpas, and visionaries make the decisions together.
Agree. But by the tech that I want to mention is, we can simply count and calculate the results of your previous decisions. And if you are the grandpa who always did mistakes all your life, and you fucked up all your life and family, you should not have the upper vote than the 13 years old child that's previous 100 decisions about this particular category was right.
That's a good point.
So,
I agree.
And the tech and blockchain can do this.
Yeah.
We can see that your previous decisions, people vote for your decisions without knowing who you are. Like anonymously, they just see your decision. And then if you have the good history of decisions, your vote is up. If you have bad history, your vote is down. That's simple.
And that just improves on the ancient structure. Where you take because my idea, that's why I was like, you know, the grandmas and grandpas are visionaries, because the visionaries come up with these new ideas, and it might be a 13-year-old who's a visionary. And the grandmas and grandpas who've lived enough life and they've made more mistakes than all the rest of us. And then they've made the right decisions, of course. That's why they get selected by the community to actually lead the community. But this idea of digitizing the decision-making matrix, because you don't have to be a grandma or grandpa or visionary. You could just be a person who's able to understand things and makes better decisions. Great. It should be a meritocracy. Everything should be a meritocracy. You know, how much value do you actually add? Did your decision add value last time? Then you get to have more power, let's call it. You know, and are you somebody who's been completely useless to society and has made terrible decisions? Then please go right to the bottom, because this is not, you're not one of the people who's supposed to do anything in this place. Go do something where you are actually way more capable than everybody else and add value in that space. So I love that. Okay, so let's continue. I got a few more topics to cover. NFTs, right? NFTs is just a file format. That's all it is. It's just a way to code files. And the file proves ownership of something. Art, gaming assets, farms, land, businesses, brands, whatever thing you're supposed to prove ownership of, NFTs are there to prove ownership of whatever that thing is. But it's written in that immutable, that unchangeable accounting book, so that we can all trust that whoever owns this NFT owns this thing that's attached to it. Right now, we're using it for copyright. Like, copyright is a huge issue because there's a lot of value being generated in Indonesia by content creators that YouTube and other companies are stealing because they don't have the means to actually prove ownership of their own content. They're stealing the content. So we're partnered with the city of Denpasar. They have a project called Baliola, where they're using NFTs to get that content right, those content rights back, and the royalties go to the right owner of that stuff. NFTs also allow you to automate royalties. So if you created something that adds value and somebody wants to use it, they should pay you for that process. And in this future that we're moving into, that's going to become an automated process. I know, Pasha, we've talked about using NFTs, layered NFTs for tickets, right? So you could get an NFT, it's 100% verifiable proof that you're the one who paid for it, but then it can show you, the ticket can show you flights, and it can show you hotels, and it can give you map directions, literally guide you through a building to your room, and so on and so forth, right? So there's so many things that we can add value to people by just simply taking the ownership of something and making it completely transparent and easily accessible and without having to talk to any humans. I'll be honest, I'm so glad that this world's being built where I don't have to deal with humans. I don't have to deal with humans. Because you know what the biggest problem is? Me. Because I have my own ways of thinking and my own stuff. And then if you have to come deal with me, you're going to have to deal with my diva-ness. You're going to be like, Sim, can you get me the water? I'm like, why do you want me to get the water? You're like, Sim, you're closer to the water. Can you give me the water? And it's like, you're like, this guy's rude. Like, I just want to get the water. If you could press a button and water shows up, you'd be like, thank God, I didn't have to ask Sim for water. Water, like, you know, this is how we interact with each other, and it makes everything so inefficient. It makes everything so inefficient. What we need to do is we need to remove humans from the whole process. Because the other thing that happens is there's a person who hates getting water. And you know what their job is? To get people water. There's a person who hates going into an office and sitting down at a cubicle and digitizing sheets. You know what their job is? 8 hours a day, sitting down and digitizing sheets. That's what we've done to humans. We've turned humans into these slaves that do things that they absolutely hate for people that they absolutely hate to get something so they can feed their kids. So let's remove humans from that whole process. Then let's see what humans do.
You still have humans because, for example, in the farming, right? You're investing in this farmer.
Yep.
And because it's not circular.
Can we get our mic? Can I get the other vape, please? She has the best vape. Come. Shh. I was just asking him for his vape, and then I was like, the best vape just walked into the room. Thank you.
So, for example, you're investing in this farmer,
Yeah.
right? And it is not a DAO, which I agree every time in my life that I try to do some circular structure where everyone was decided, even if everyone is super smart, it takes forever. Nothing gets done.
Yeah.
But so let's say you pitch this idea of the farm and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get some tokens, like I'm supporting this project. You're actually supporting this farmer
Yes.
and his decisions. So you
Yes.
have to trust
Yes.
he's going to do the right decision. So there is still a very centralized human aspect. You're kind of investing in people.
Yes. 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 But here, let me take you through the whole life cycle of what we're actually doing, right? First, I invest in the farmer because I know this is a good farmer. He works hard to feed his own family and the broader family, especially these Balinese farmers. You know, Budi, who you're going to meet, when you speak to Budi, you ask Budi, and he has money is not even it's not a function of his thinking, because he has money growing on trees. He has millions of dollars growing on his trees that he doesn't even pick, right? You ask him, why do you do it? And he's like, because that's the right thing to do. That's it. Because God said that's the right thing to do, you know? And these villages are full of farmers like that. They've just farmed. They know that, you know, the magic that the earth has for you, literal magic, where you just put a seed down and food grows out, the single most important thing for existence of humanity, and water pours out of the hills. It's important. So first thing I'm doing is I'm finding them and going, I'm going to make you rich. Yes, in money, because money runs the whole world. I'm going to make you rich. But the moment you have enough money, you know what I'm going to help you do? Get machines to do this. Right? And at the same time, I'm buying machines for Budi to process things, to do all these things with my own money. Then I'm going to get machines to do this. Then your kids are going to play a game where they farm. And they get addicted to farming on their phones. And then I'm going to hook up their phone to the machine so the kids will be able to farm with their phones. And the farmer who's been breaking his back, making pennies in farming, will finally get to relax and go hang out with his family. Because that's all life is. The only thing life really is good meals in good places with good people having good conversations. Other than that, success means nothing. That's my idea of success, right? I want to get the farmer to be able to do that with his kid. And I want to make it so simple for the kid to farm with machines and all this kind of stuff that it'll be natural for them to, they'll be just playing a game still on their phone, but actually they'll be farming and this won't be in the phone, it'll be in the metaverse pretty soon. And they will farm, right? Because my goal is to take away the concept of money from value-adding humans. If you're somebody who really adds value to society, I want you to not even have to think about money. We'll give you places to live. We'll give you places to eat. We'll give you water. We'll give you money. We'll give you resources. We'll incubate you, and that's what I'm going to talk about at the end, how we're literally doing this today on the ground. And we figured out value models where money will disappear as a concept, not by like this weird woo-woo, like we got to get rid of money as a concept, but by literally generating value models that take away the thought of money from value-adding humans' lives, so then they can add value from a place of passion and love and care. And then watch what happens to the world. When people really care, you know, once you get above $5,000 of per capita income, people start caring about the environment. Below $5,000, people don't care about the environment. They care about their kids. So if I can just get everybody above $5,000 of per capita income, inflation adjusted, we've officially changed this world 100%. So that's kind of the longer term goal. And by longer term, I mean within 10 years, this will be live. So these are new value models. These are the new value models that I'm trying to explain to you, right? There's new ways to allow value to flow, and we're incentivizing the rich to help the poor, so the poor can become richer by helping the world, by doing things in a way that's good, that's clean, that doesn't destroy the planets, and it allows humans to be freed up to be creative, not even creative, creators, not just creative. And then when you take away the weight of money from people's shoulders, and they're value-adding humans, they're extremely valuable humans, then they go and create the change because they're doing it from a place of passion and love. So this takes us to the next point, which is metaverse. Metaverse. The entire human experience. Everything you see, everything you hear, everything you touch, everything you taste, everything you sense, everything you feel is going to be taken over wholly by 2032. By 2032, we will have technology for you to hallucinate inside of your head. And Elon Musk is working on it as we speak. It'll be glasses first, then it'll be lenses, then it'll be in your head. And this is coming faster than you can imagine. The metaverse is going to be, is being built to completely revolutionize human experience and human universes. We're rebuilding the entire universe as we speak. Kids will live inside of that world. Like I have those headsets, right? I gave it to that 13-year-old who's the smartest person that I've ever met, hands down. He put him on, he was gone. He was gone, he didn't come back. Like he was in there for like hours until the battery died. And we have a second one, so he picked up the second one. He's like, can I take this to my room? Or like, I guess. And he's like, I'll see you guys never. Just went upstairs, went into his room, went into that world, just loved it. You know, became a soldier where there's a gun strapped to your chest and you pick it up and pop in a magazine and cock it and then you hold it and then you do like, and then he played a game where he's like chopping things through. It's a music game. He loves music games and he was like doing all that stuff. Played this game, played that game, played that game. He just loved it. I gave it to Gozian, who's, I guess he's an adult, but he's adult adjacent. And same thing, literally, he put it on. He was gone. He just kept playing, and at one point, I just stepped out of the room and I just closed the door to the room, and we just sat on the couch and we're like, and he comes out and he goes, "We're fucked." I was like, I put it on and I was like, okay, this gun stuff, it's not really my jam. These apps are the quality. I'm trying to convince myself, like, oh no, the resolution's too low for me. And then I sat down and turned on the meditation app, and I just sat there and meditated for 5 minutes, and it centered me in the same way that takes me about an hour to center myself in 5 minutes. And I took it off and I said it to myself. I was like, we're fucked. Kevin, super wise, super knowledgeable, German, extremely intelligent, puts it on. He doesn't even go into the apps. He just put it on and went to the main menu, which is just the villa where you select the app, and he just went, we're fucked. There's only one thing you say, we're fucked. And this is just beta stage testing levels. But the experiential nature of the internet that's coming, prep yourself. And if you think you're going to stop that, good fucking luck. And if your idea of stopping that is going in the middle of the woods and resisting everything and sitting in the corner, you better not have kids, because you're dooming your children to a life that they never asked for. That they will be like, why did you leave me behind? How come Sim was over there training these guys on Metaverse, and look at their life and what you did to my life because you decide that you want me to live in the world that you grew up in? Since when do we let our parents decide what world to live in? It's always been like this. These phones are horrible. Don't use these phones. Grandma, if I don't use this phone, I'll be dead broke in 30 seconds. I'll be homeless in 30 seconds. Now it's Metaverse doing the same thing, okay? But what the Metaverse, the good that the Metaverse does, it allows equal access to opportunity for anywhere from across the world. For anyone from anywhere from across the world. And it's going to take some time for hardware to catch up. Yes, there will be a hardware disparity where the West will be able to afford the hardware at the beginning. And eventually it'll come down to phones. You know, same like 2007, nobody can afford an iPhone. 2012, Indians start to get iPhones. 2017, homeless people in India have 2 phones. Same thing is going to happen going forward, please. We'll get you a mic. One second.
I think that regarding this hardware disparity, the people who are already in this sphere, like who are already connected, and especially the people who are running businesses, are massively incentivized to make sure that the 3 billion people who do not have a phone in their hand yet,
Yeah.
we want them to have one right now,
Yeah.
even if I have to pay for it. Because if
Yeah.
you don't have a phone in your hand,
Yeah.
I can't sell anything to you.
Yeah.
And I have so many services to sell that there, take a phone right now.
And the thing is, I'm working with businesses and governments to get us ahead of this whole plan. I was going to say this at the end, but I'll tell you now. We are partnered with the Jakartan government. Please take the mic. We're partnered with the Jakartan government. They have digital talent development pipelines where they put hundreds and thousands of people through digital talent education. We're connecting university, and it's already live. We're connecting universities from all across Indonesia, and anybody who wants to join this, it's going to be totally free, to a talent development system called DigiTalent, so they learn digital skills. Then we're going to put them through a startup education program called 1,000 Startups. Then we have a company called Republic Rupiah that is owned by a friend that's one of us, where we're going to bring in metaverse and XR technologies that our friends from Silicon Valley are giving us, that Jack Dorsey has told them to give, that we're going to use as education to fit into this program. Then we're going to bring them and put them in the incubator that we're building. And then they're going to be sitting right next to the Pauls of the world, the smartest talent from across the world that we're attracting and getting them to live in this place where they don't have to pay for anything except for nothing. Then this developed local talent will learn from the best people in the world how to build the metaverse, how to build extended reality, how to build the actual stuff, and we'll buy them headsets. So so the Indonesians will be ahead of the people who have the headsets, because the people who have the headsets are rich, they're consumers, they're lazy, they're Americans. They don't know shit. They don't even want to work. They're rich. These people are incentivized to build the stuff for them. So one, they will build. It doesn't matter about if you have a headset or not. It matters if you build the app. At the same time, yesterday, I educated 530 signed up and about 400 showed up to this talk. Small and medium enterprises, businesses that the Jakartan government brought to sit and listen to me. And I showed them how they can participate in the metaverse for free. Because a guy was like, I have a coffee shop. The stuff you're talking about, I can't build NFT. It doesn't even make sense for me to build NFTs and stuff. I don't see the value models being that lucrative. And plus, I have a very small team and I can't run it like that. And I was like, here's an example of how you can benefit from the metaverse. The question he asked was, how do I differentiate myself in this space? And I was like, here's just a random example. These bule are going to be walking around there with their Apple headsets in the West, just wanting experiences. And they're going to come to Indonesia and that's going to be almost non-existent. How about this? I'll even build you this. There's this little sticker with a QR code looking thing on it, right? That you put on your table. That anybody with a metaverse headset, when they look at it, an art piece pops up and starts moving. It's a 3D graphics art piece. Let's say you look at it and Garuda comes out and starts to flap its wings, okay? This sticker is nearly free. One sec. This sticker is nearly free for you to slap on your tables, and I'll give you 1,000 stickers. So your entire coffee shop will be full of digital art pieces. So then when these bule with money come there and they go, where can we go to have, where can I use my little headset? You go, you got to go to this coffee shop. Wait until what happens when you go inside. That's nearly free. You don't even need a headset for it. You just need somebody else to have a headset for it. You attract the people with money. They spend more money. They post photos of it. And then your marketing and everything gets done by itself.
Thank you. Thank you for your speech. Sorry, I'm organizer of the next event, and administration tell me that you finish at 12:30. And I
No,
have 50 people who wait.
We
this
finish at
place.
1.
No?
Yeah. It's 11 to 1.
You finish at 1.
Yeah.
But administration tell me that 12:30, no?
Can you bring Antria, please? Yeah.
Ask, because we have 50 people, and we are planning to. No.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll finish early if you guys need to finish early. Yeah. In simple terms, we built an incubator. We're taking the mining, the farming, commodities, metaverse, which are all multi-trillion-dollar plays, not billion-dollar plays, multi-trillion-dollar plays. And we put them into this incubator. And this incubator is the first manifestation. And at the same time, we're connecting these talent development pipelines, our friends from Silicon Valley, VCs and capital and everything we're bringing under one roof, and we're turning it into an investment vehicle. This is the first announcement that I'm giving. I'll give you guys, as we always do with revenue streams, I'll give you guys much more details when it officially launches, just to our private investor network. We've created an incubator that equity from these projects will be put inside, and tokens from these projects will be put inside. And every single project we incubate for the rest of the life of this incubator, the equity and the tokens from those projects will live inside of this incubator. Anybody who invests in the incubator itself will get their part of the equity of the incubator will be scaled by the equity that we put inside, and the dividend yields yielded from the tokens themselves will be paid out to them for the rest of the life of the incubator through the token that we create for the incubator itself. So this is my way of taking all of this value that we're talking about, combining it into one roof, making it so that the funding that's coming into this, the next thing we're doing is we're building a $100 million co-living, co-working, co-healing space where the smartest people from the world will be brought. And it's already live in Bali Blockchain Center. We have 5 buildings in the middle of Denpasar that the city of Denpasar has already given us, where we're going to bring the smartest people in the world, incubate them inside. This revenue that's coming in will be used to fund their lifestyle, to make sure they never have to think about money again. And as this thing scales, money as a concept will disappear as long as you're somebody who adds value. We'll give you everything. We'll make sure that we take care of you for the rest of your life, as long as you add value. And then we'll incubate your project, and then we'll make it live, then we'll invest in it, then we'll make the operations run, then we'll make you fully functional. So not only can the people inside never have to think about money again, they get wealthy beyond their riches, beyond their wildest dreams, but because they feed kids. That's the idea. So I was supposed to do a market analysis in this time, but there's some issues with bookings. So let's just go to the market analysis right now. So I've said this many times before, but I'm going to repeat all this stuff because what am I looking at? Because a lot of people don't think about these things. In order for us to understand when crypto is going to return, you have to understand where bonds are. Because crypto is just a drop in the bucket of liquidity, water, in the broader financial markets. A vast majority of a huge portion of the liquidity is actually in the stock markets. And the liquidity in the stock markets is determined by the vast majority of liquidity that sits in the bond markets. So the bond markets are the ocean, the stock markets are the sea, crypto is a little puddle on the beach, Bitcoin is a glass of water inside of that puddle, and whatever micro cap crypto you're trying to get rich from is a drop, is probably a few molecules of water inside of that puddle. Yeah, I thought so. Thank you. So this is where the bond market's at. As long as this bond yield, the 10-year bond yield keeps going up in this environment where they're not printing money, crypto will not return. Because bond yields going up means people are selling bonds. When people sell bonds, that means faith is being lost in debt. And if faith is being lost in debt, then there's no way faith will return to the risky assets, which are so stock market is a derivative of the bond markets. And the crypto markets are a derivative of the stock markets. So if faith is being lost on the front end in the ocean, if let's say the water is going down in the ocean, there's no way your puddle's going to go up. It's a simple way of thinking about it. So bond yields are going up. That's not a good look. Crypto does not look like it's going to return anytime soon. The 2-year bond yield is even more scary. This kind of pump. Now there's good and bads to this. This single candle in one day for bond yields to pump like this, if that was to continue for a few days, the financial collapse would happen in a heartbeat. When the financial collapse happens, you will see this replicated. This is murmurings of the financial collapse. This is basically saying people and entities sold a massive amount of sovereign debt in one day. And the loss of faith in sovereign debt will be the thing that actually manifests the death of the financial system. So in simple terms, crypto, this signal is saying crypto won't go up, shouldn't go up. This is saying crypto won't go, not even won't go up, there's probably going to be a cliff, another one of those cliff falls where like Bitcoin goes down to $12,000, $13,000. At least that's what these are saying. The dollar is inverse of crypto. So when the dollar goes down, crypto goes up. When crypto goes up, the dollar goes down. Simply because when crypto goes up, the money's flowing from the dollar to crypto. When the dollar goes down, the money's flowing, when the dollar goes up, the money is flowing from crypto to the dollar. That's why the dollar's going up and crypto's going down. When the dollar goes down, the money flows from dollar to crypto. Therefore, crypto should go up. This is telling us crypto shouldn't go up and we should see some kind of cliff. So now that's the ocean telling you that there should be a cliff, and then the sea telling you that there should be a cliff. What do you think should happen in the puddle? Oil is a signal of inflation. Oil and inflation could be seen at the same time. Actually, for the last little while, we had seen energy inflation at least going down, but now oil's starting to go up again, which is not a good sign, because if inflation goes up, then they won't print money, or they shouldn't print money. We don't know what they're going to do. And if they don't print money, then these dynamics we're talking about stay the way that they are. When they're printing money, the bond dynamics flip. Because when they're printing money, they're flooding liquidity and water into the oceans, which means that if bond yields go up, that means people are leaving the safety of bonds and they're going to riskier places because there's infinite money being pumped into the system. So these dynamics flip. But for now, because of no money printing and the fact that oil's starting to go up, inflation's starting to go up, it's unlikely that they'll just start printing money out of the blue, which means crypto should not go up. The Russell 2000 is microcap stocks. This is a representation of risky stocks within, sorry, this should be daily. There you go. This is a representation of risky stocks, and crypto is just the new riskiest stocks. This was a good sign, but this also looks like a bear market rally. So we still have to let the data play out to see what's going to happen. If this keeps going downwards, then crypto and everything is going to fall off of another cliff, and it should go to shit. The New York Stock Exchange Composite Index is all of the different stocks together in the New York Stock Exchange, and same thing. The patterns look the same on all of them. So generally speaking, it still doesn't look like anything should return, especially because the bond market's signaling that liquidity hasn't returned fully yet. The NASDAQ is the one that we should, so here's actually, so NASDAQ is the closest one to follow because NASDAQ is tech stocks specifically. And if you had to correlate crypto to something, you would call crypto the new tech stocks. And the tech stocks are still on the way down. It still hasn't returned fully yet, and it's unlikely to return at least until we see more data come through. And it'll be simple. When crypto will go up is when they find an excuse to print more money. That might be, I don't know, monkeypox. There might be some weird thing going on. There might be the bond market's breaking and they find a reason to print money and they don't care about inflation. Something will happen and the dynamics will change. Until they start printing money, I'm not entering the markets. Until they start, so from here until now, from like October until now, I've just been busy building these other systems that we just talked about. Because when the markets are in this stage, you should go live real life. Go have some coconuts, go do something valuable, go do anything other than just staring at the crypto markets, hoping that they go up. You can see it coming from miles away. Right? And the liquidity for it to go from the ocean to the sea to crypto takes time. A wave takes time to propagate. So these things, the bond markets tend to signal 6 to 9 months ahead of time. The stock market tends to signal a month to 2 months ahead of time. And Bitcoin is the first part of the puddle which signals what's going to happen at the rest of it. But a more nuanced view to take on the NASDAQ is this. Depth. NASDAQ depth. NDTH. This is a representation of how many of the stocks that are in the NASDAQ are above their 200-day moving average or below their 200-day moving average. This was 2020, 2019. Come on, you can load up. This one doesn't show the data, but 2008. So anytime you see it this low, this is a great buying opportunity. So I'm not saying today is a bad buying opportunity for crypto, especially if you're a dollar cost averager. We are at one of the best buying opportunities in history in crypto. It's only happened 4 or 5 times in the 13-year history of crypto. It's a good buying opportunity, but you better buy gold, not shit. Only 10% of the digital assets are worth buying. 90% of them are not worth touching, unless you're a speculative trader, which is not the game that we play here. And then finally, I look at junk bonds. Junk bonds are super high risky bonds. So same thing, like the fact that they're down here, and actually the fact that they came down here and it recovered and is kind of coming back to the same region is actually good. Because if it doesn't break down below this level, that's letting you know ahead of time, hey, the bleeding is done. And now that everybody's convinced that there's going to be a market crash, it's unlikely that we're going to have a market crash now. I'm still convinced that we're going to see a massive recovery, massive quick recovery back that's going to get everybody to FOMO in. And then sometime in 2023, we should see some kind of major collapse, maybe out to 2024, who knows. But the fact that we're down here and we're back to this kind of range, it's saying it's a good buy time or a good time to start buying. Me personally, I already have enough holdings and the people that I help have enough holdings. So we're just going to wait and let this whole process play out. Almost every single time I make a decision in crypto, the thing that was wrong with it was I made it too early, too quickly. I should have waited longer. Almost every time. But 20% of the time it was like, okay, that wasn't too early. I don't make decisions too late. I always like to get out early. But almost every time I was like, oh, I could have waited a little bit longer. So same thing, it's a good buying opportunity, but that doesn't mean I'm going to start buying right now. But this depends on your strategy. Now, this is China. They're not having a good Tuesday. China's in full-on meltdown stage. Chinese citizens can't get their money out of banks today. Lebanese citizens can't do it. Sri Lankans, goodbye. Venezuela melted down a long time ago. Some of the world can't get their money out of banks today. Chinese can't get their money out of banks. Russians got Russianed. Their money just got taken. All of their real estate, all of their yachts, all of their assets. Somebody snapped their fingers and they just took all of them. We're sitting here like, nah, I'm American, I'm European. It's not going to happen to me. Remember what happened in 2013 in Cyprus? Same thing's going to happen to us between now and 2025. But this is the meltdown of China, and it doesn't look like it's going to stop. China runs the world. If China can't run, the rest of the world comes to a halt very quickly. Then I go to look at the actual total crypto markets, which is total one. This is including Bitcoin. I didn't draw these lines. We have multiple people who access this account, so they're going in and drawing all these lines. The total crypto market is just chilling. But the thing is, this looks really scary, but actually what's going on is this. Because I've said this many times before, but the human mind thinks linearly. We think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Digital assets don't work linearly. Network-based value models don't function linearly. They function on a logarithmic curve. They go 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. That's why Bitcoin just keeps doing this, right? It's like pennies to dollars, dollars to dozens, dozens to hundreds, hundreds to thousands, thousands to almost 100, 10,000, 10,000 to 100,000. That's not a coincidence. So this is how you need to look at this whole space. So when you look at this, it doesn't look too bad. This is what crypto calls a Tuesday, right? But when you look at it like, oh my God, holy shit. Okay, so you need to look at these things that are on a log curve, which is, if you go back and look, this is actually just a perfect growth pattern that's happened. Now, I'm not expecting Bitcoin to continue like this forever. Actually, in recent times, the price of these digital assets have been manipulated by buying them with fake dollars called Tether, or UST, or any of these fake value models that were created. So the fact that Tether, which is actually backed by Chinese debt, and you just saw what Chinese debt is, what's happening to Chinese debt. I don't think they're going to be paying back their debt. So it's backed by Chinese debt, which makes it as worthless as anything else, and it's been used at high frequency trading to pump up the value of these digital assets. I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin went down to the single-digit $1,000 range at some point. I don't think it's going to happen now, but in that biblical collapse, we're going to see it break all of these different models. So after looking at this, I don't even go look at any other digital assets. Everybody's over here. They start here. This is Bitcoin. So this is Quentin doing it. He does it in French. Bitcoin is mort. What does that say? Bitcoin is dead. Yeah. Which is what everybody's screaming right now, right? But this is what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. People start looking from here. You know, people start looking at the puddle. They start from analyzing the glass. They're like, which way is the glass going? So that I'll know where my like molecule's going. Nobody's looking at the sea or the ocean. You want to know which way the glass goes, you got to know where the puddle's going, and you want to know which way the puddle goes, you got to know where the sea's going. All that stuff, right? So I don't even go down that low. I get to this point and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go off. I'm going to go build real value generating models and commodities and real estate and all the things that actually matter rather than all of this stuff. But here's the access to one of the most expensive paid tools that we have. This is something called reserve risk. It's an indicator that tells you the confidence that exists in an asset compared to the prices. In simple terms, when it's low, that means confidence is high and prices are low, which means buy. When it's high, that means prices are high and confidence is low, which means sell, obviously. Right now, it's telling you we are at the level that we were back in. It's lower than where we were back in COVID. It's lower than we were back in 2018 end. And when you go back in history, it's never been this low, which is telling you it's never been this good of a buying opportunity on these digital assets. This is just Bitcoin we're looking at. This is entity adjusted dormancy flow. It's literally never been this low in history because now Wall Street has entered and they've completely manipulated the markets into dynamics which have never played out before because those were natural market dynamics. Again, it's telling you, holy shit, that we've never seen a buying opportunity this good in history ever. This is realized cap HODL waves. In simple terms, these colors tell you how old or new are the people that are holding. If the newest people are holding, then you should sell. If the newest people are holding the least, then you should buy. It's low. See these spikes, sell. These valleys, buy. It's telling you to buy. This is the same thing put into a ratio form. In green, buy. Red, sell. And obviously, I don't mean, don't just take this at word because like this time it didn't even get up there and Wall Street knew that we were watching these stats, so they just dumped it from here. It's in a buying opportunity that's only come 4 times in history. Even during COVID, it didn't come down this low, but right now it's even better. These we'll look at in a second. This one I love. This is my whale watching dashboard. I did not realize whale watching would be one of my favorite activities in life. You don't even have to go to the ocean. You can just watch the whales from your house. This is like a remote whale camera, right? These lines are representations of addresses with certain balances. Addresses would balance over 0.1 Bitcoin, 1 Bitcoin, 10 Bitcoin, 100 Bitcoin, 10,000 Bitcoin, 10,000 Bitcoin. On the whole, they've all started to curve up. On the whole, which is a signal that the smart money has already started to buy. This is what it looked like last time. Okay, when we saw back here after the dump, like right here was the previous dump, we saw these numbers all started to curve upwards. Once they were basically done accumulating, they did almost nothing, and then when they actually started to pump in a significant way, the prices pumped almost in synchronousness. Right now, I mean, one of my favorites to look at is 10,000 Bitcoin, but right now 10,000 Bitcoin is going down, which is, 10,000 Bitcoin, though that's definitely a whale of whales. That's a blue whale. But the rest of the numbers are starting to go up. So it's kind of mixed signals, but at this point, all of the data is saying that this kind of opportunity is not going to come again. It's going to come again when the biblical collapse happens, but this kind of opportunity is a rare opportunity to buy at this time. Especially now that through this process, a lot of the shitty digital assets have been knocked out, like Luna and all those lending platforms that were garbage, and most of DeFi, most of the garbage has been actually destroyed. And so the stuff that exists today is at least resilient. I'm not saying they're good, still 90% is shit, but at least they're resilient and they've been tested through the fire. Okay. I mean, there's a lot more data we could go through, but we don't really have the time. I'll go through it in a more detailed way later on. This is concerning. This is extremely concerning. This is futures open interest. It basically just tells you how much money is being used to make bets on the price of crypto going up or down in cash. This one's cash. This one is in Bitcoin, denominated in Bitcoin. This means we have by far the most amount of money we've ever had in the futures markets. And we've seen the transition of capital from the spot markets to the futures markets. Again, if you don't understand what futures market and spot markets are, please ignore all of this stuff. Go back and watch our talks about futures and spot markets and the dynamics that play out between them. Basically, this is a casino. If you haven't heard me say this before, if you took all the money in the world and all the assets in the world and all the stocks in the world and all the bonds in the world and all the real estate in the world and all the cars in the world and the shoes in the world and the tables in the world, you took every single thing that is of value in the world and you put it on one side, almost twice as much money is sitting in a casino. Almost twice as much money is sitting in a casino. It's called futures markets. There's about, the numbers vary depending on who you ask. There's between 600 trillion to 800 trillion dollars of this value that we all use. And there's 1.6 quadrillion dollars, 1.6 thousand trillion dollars that are in futures markets. It's just a casino for bets being made on the prices of things going up and down. And that's where the wealthy really get rich. And this is something that nobody even knows exists because it actually doesn't exist. It's just a financial product. This is concerning because the futures market drive the spot markets. The spot markets are when you actually buy and sell the actual asset, which is what we do. We buy it and we hope that it goes up. Futures markets, they don't buy the actual asset. Well, to manipulate the markets, they kind of do, but they buy bets on the price going up and down. So this is the most amount of bets we've ever seen, ever. And it's at the highest leverage we've ever seen, ever. And leverage is borrowing money to make those bets. So what we're seeing is, we're seeing the most amount of cash in the market on the bets, and we're seeing the most amount of debt it being used to generate that cash to make the bets. It's not going to be pretty when this happens. When this dumps, so like look at this. This is Bitcoin denominated, right? When the futures markets dumped, the price dumped. And then as the price was dumping, the futures market, and this is from here to here. This is $15 billion here, and this is $5 billion. So that was $10 billion that was wiped off the map in that one move. From here to here, this was $15 billion, $9 billion. So, $5 billion was wiped off. This is how people are losing their money. You can see it live. This is just Bitcoin. No, whenever a bet is made, because you bet against the house, right? So you bet it goes up and the house bets it goes down. So the number of bets is always equal. The people with all the money. They're called market makers. Because think about it, like, I'm going to let you make a bet with $1. What leverage means is you can make a bet with $1. I will give you $100 of debt. And if you win as if you made a $100 bet, right? Let's say you make a bet at $1. You say Bitcoin is at 1,000, it'll go to 2,000. Normally, if you bet $1, you would have just made $1. I'll give you $99, and if you win that bet, you will get $200 from $1. So if you lose $1. If you win $200. Let's do it with $1 million. You bet $1 million, I'll give you 99 million. If you win $200 million. If you lose, you just lose $1 million. Just pennies. Who's the person who's giving you that money to bet? Right? Who's the person? When you lose, who wins? It's the people with money. They're called market makers.
You actually don't have money to pay. You pay me on debt.
With my money. well, not me, I'm not a market maker. I wish I was a market maker. Actually, I don't wish I was a market maker. I would be, no, I definitely don't wish I was a market maker ever. I don't even play this game ever. I never bet. I never gamble. I simply make bets. I simply make investments which I have an edge in. If I know something other people don't know, and I can invest in something and I can just wait you out, I'll make way more money than the people making these bets and all this kind of stuff. But yes, it's the wealthy, it's the ultra wealthy who bring their money in and they let you borrow that money to make bets. And statistically speaking, the house wins. You know, that $10 billion went to the house. $5 billion went to the house. Yeah, can you get a mic? Oh, answer that question. Yeah, but just answer it on the mic because otherwise the recording can't hear it.
Yeah, okay. So what's happening? This is called futures. This is the futures market. So you're not buying an asset. So if you go on an exchange, for example, Binance, you're gonna buy a specific asset. So you're gonna buy a Bitcoin, you're gonna buy an Ethereum coin, you're gonna buy something you're gonna have in your wallet, right? But here, you're not buying the coin. You're buying a contract that represents the asset. That's what happened. It's an enormous casino where people are betting on the contract, and the contract says, okay, I'm going to buy a long or a short. A short is you're betting for the asset price to go down. A long is you're betting for the asset price to go up. And so you're betting on the price of Bitcoin. And so, for example, Bitcoin is going to go down. If you short it, you're going to win money. If it goes up, you're going to lose money. You're going to get what we call liquidated. Your position is going to get liquidated.
You're going to lose all your money.
Exactly. And so
It's a nice way to say you're going to lose all your money. Yeah.
And these people with enormous amounts of money, we call them market makers. And these market makers come and they do what it's called. They make the market. What happens is that they have enormous liquidity. So they have
Money.
thousands and thousands of Bitcoins. And they have thousands of the other assets. So for example, if you're betting in USDT, they have thousands and thousands or millions of USDT.
Billions, hundreds of billions.
Billions of Bitcoin.
No,
And so what happens is that
here's how I manipulate the market as a market maker, okay? When the price is low, I make microtransactions to buy Bitcoin so the price doesn't move. And I do it on OTC desks, so it doesn't even show up on these markets. Anyways, OTC desks. I buy up 100,000 Bitcoin at cheap prices today. That's what they're doing in the background. Now I have 100,000 Bitcoin, right? You make, I don't like that guy's voice. You make a bet that the price of Bitcoin goes down because it's been going down. On the other side of the bet is me, and I've given you this debt to borrow. Then I just flood a bunch of money. I get you to make massive bets that the price goes down. Once you're convinced that it's going to go down, I flood a bunch of money into Bitcoin and I pump the price up and I take all your money because you made bets that the price is going to go up. Now the prices start to go up because I'm buying it, and I'm buying it for low prices. Me buying it at low prices, once the price gets after a certain point, I stop. I let the average person come in who's like, oh my God, FOMO, 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 I'm gonna miss this ride. Everybody rushes in and FOMOs in as the price is going up. And the people start buying and they keep pumping the prices up. As the prices go up, everybody starts to make bets that the prices go up. Remember, I have 100,000 Bitcoin. Actually, 100,000 plus I probably bought another 50,000 while I was, pumping the prices on the markets. Now you've made a bunch of bets with super amounts of my debt that the price is going to go up. Now the price is way higher than where I bought it. So you know what I do? I just go to this market and I just dump 150,000 Bitcoin on you at $70,000 when you're convinced it's going to go to $100,000. Me dumping that Bitcoin dumps the price. Okay, I made money from 30,000 to 70,000, doubled my money. Now I have cash. I dump the markets. When I dump the markets, guess what the average person does? Panic, 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 sell, 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 sell. Oh my God, the price is going down. The average person sells it all the way down for me. Now I doubled my money, right? Now I have 300,000 Bitcoins worth of money at the top price, or $150,000 worth of money at the top price. And when you bring the price down, now I can get 300,000 Bitcoin. So then what I do is I let you dump the markets, and you're making bets that the price keeps going down, and I slowly start buying Bitcoin, so the price does keep going down. And then eventually, there's not enough people left to sell it to me. And then I've spent maybe 100,000 Bitcoins worth of money. Then I just wait while the prices are low, and you've made all the bets that the prices go down. I dump in 200,000 Bitcoins worth of money, and I pump the prices up. I take all the money that I made from your bets, and the prices start to go up. Rinse, repeat. Rinse, repeat. That's why they have all the money in the world.
That I use from one of your talks.
I know.
But my question is,
Yeah.
because you're saying it's scary the amount of bets that there are right now.
Yeah.
So my question is, first of all, do we know what they're betting? It doesn't matter. The dangerous thing is that they're betting a lot of stuff. So is it something like the 208 thing where
2008?
basically some big guys are going to lose a lot and then they're going to be betting it out?
The really big guys never lose. The guys that died, they weren't big guys. They were babies. They had single-digit billions of dollars of money. And they were people like us who thought they could go create the new financial system and start to trade these digital assets and give you 15, 20% returns. And they thought they could play the games with Wall Street. And Wall Street came in and took $80 billion down with the snap of their finger through Luna, and then destroyed those things, cannibalized them. Those things went bankrupt, and you know who bought them? Wall Street. So the big guy, the actual big guys never lose. That's why they have all the money in the world. And they've made this entire game. I know you want to say something.
No, if you want to check, you can check it. So actually, you can check like the ratios of long and shorts on any asset class. So for example, BTC, Ethereum, anything. You can check on-chain or off-chain data, and you can see the ratios. So you can see if they're betting more on the long or more on the short. So you can see that with like usually it's pretty negative when there's a lot of betting, because it means that there could be a lot of volatility. Because if there's a move one side, a lot of people are going to get what we said liquidated. So they're going to lose all their money. So if there's a lot of bets, the move can be really, really strong. So yeah, it's,
But
it's
that
pretty
data does
dangerous.
get corrupted because the market makers know we're watching that data. So they go in and they put it in their own fake bets to corrupt that data to make us think it's going to go one way or the other. And right before they make their move, they take away all their bets, they cancel their bets, and then they make the move itself. So don't trust a lot of this data. And by the way, sorry, I made a mistake. This is in Bitcoin and this is in cash, which is even more dangerous. There's right now 588,000. Well, today there's like 556,000 Bitcoins worth of bets being made. So we have to leave this room. I think the next people are coming in. Do you guys have a meeting in here? No, you don't? Okay.
No, they start at 1:30.
They start at 1:30. That's what I thought. Okay, perfect. So this is even more concerning because the bets are being made in Bitcoin. There's 500,000 Bitcoins worth of bets. Doesn't matter which direction it's in. It means volatility is coming. There's a 50% chance that it could be to the upside, but everything else we saw from the broader markets is likely that it's to the downside. So we're going to leave it here. In simple, and then finally, I always like looking at this. This is the psychology of the market. The general market is in a state of fear. Long-term holders are in a state of fear. When long-term holders go into a state of fear, it's an unbelievable buying opportunity because long-term holders do not go into a state of fear for nothing. Even in COVID, they barely even tapped fear. The last time they were in this deep state of fear was back in 2018. And remember, 2018, there was a completely different understanding of what Bitcoin was and what the stuff was. Now we have faith in these markets, and we're at the fear level. Short-term holders, they're always scared. Short-term holders don't know anything other than fear. So they're always just losing money. So in simple terms, if you're planning on entering this market, enter with the understanding that you want to be a long-term holder, which is over 155 days of holding. But I would say if you're planning to be here and play this game for the next 2 to 3 years, it's an unbelievable buying opportunity to enter this market now. But again, this is not financial advice. You can lose all of your money by entering the wrong assets at the wrong time or just doing this the wrong way. So we'll end it here. I'll do this every week now because this was actually part of a paid thing. Also, this subscription is $10,000, and last time we funded it through our community. It's going to run out at the end of September. So if we can find 10 people who are willing to pay $1,000 to gain access to this, it's worth its weight in gold for how many decisions you can make. Otherwise, I'm just going to switch it down to the $40 subscription, and we're going to lose access to these more detailed charts, but we can still figure it out. So if you're somebody who wants access, reach out to me and we can consolidate together, and you can get access to a subscription for 1/10 of the price. And then plus, then it allows us to be able to give it to people for free who can't afford it. The subscription, it's normally 10,000, but we're going to find 10 people who want to pitch 1,000, and so we'll buy it together, and you get login access to this. Plus, you'll have login access to TradingView, which we actually have we have about $7,000-8,000 of tools in here, like Market Cipher and LuxAlgo and a few other things. So reach out if that's something you're interested in. A year, yeah. But it's for a year, but it's special data that the hedge funds have that we normally don't have. Like, for example, psychology, you want entity-adjusted Newpol, right? You just looking at regular Newpol doesn't give you the same understanding, and there's much finer details of data that you can pull from this. All right, so we'll leave it there. Thank you guys for your time. It's been a pleasure. Like I mentioned, we're going to be announcing the incubator soon as an investment vehicle to our private investor network first, and then it'll be opened up to the public to invest. And then pretty soon we're transitioning all of these meetings to Denpasar, to Bali Blockchain Center, and we're going to be doing them in English and in Bahasa, because now we're transitioning to actually helping the local population rather than just, a bunch of us hanging out and having a little party together. So thank you guys. Thank you.